Hello and welcome to the Vinyl Sanctuary. My name is Christian and I hope that you will join me in taking refuge in records. So I'm here today with my latest video in the Ranking the 1970s album series, and it is with great pleasure that I will be presenting to you my top 15 picks for the year 1975. So usual process, I'll just go through it for people who may be new to the channel, may not have watched my videos before. So I've been going through the 1970s. I will put links to the videos I've already done in the series in the description box to this video that you're watching, so 1973 to 74. And I've been choosing 15 albums from each of those years. I've attempted to rank them as accurately to my own tastes and feelings as possible, and then I talk a little bit about each album just in the moment, whatever comes into my head. Show the records off, front cover and back cover, and anything else of interest, inners, lyric sheets, that sort of stuff, gatefold, and then choose a few favourite tracks and then move on to the next one. So yeah, this time is no different. I've got 15 albums to show, and the only caveat that I work to, again, just for people that may be new to me, is I only choose albums which I actually own physically in my vinyl collection. So there are no albums here, that I would love to own, but I don't have them, or I've got them on CD, or I did once upon a time. It's only stuff that I've got in the vinyl collection right now in the moment as I'm recording the video. So there does tend to be omissions, for a lot of people. They do wonder at times, where's that particular album? It may be that I don't know it. It may be that I know it very well, but I just don't own it. Or it could be somewhere in the middle. So usually what ends up happening is people will contact me in the comments section, and then I tend to clarify where my position happens to be on that album. It may well be that I do own it, but maybe I just don't like it as much as 15 others that I've chosen ahead of it. So that's pretty much it. It is a bit of fun at the end of the day, and I have enjoyed doing these videos. I've also done all of the 1980s as well. So for anybody who doesn't, or again isn't aware of me and they have a particular fondness for the 1980s, then I've already done all those videos for that decade, and that was absolutely brilliant. I had a lot of fun doing that one. And yeah, so we're at the midpoint now, pretty much, aren't we, of the 1970s. So I'll crack on and see what you guys think. Thank you in advance, for watching and for being here. And I hope that you enjoy what I have to show. Okay, and then if anything else comes into my head as we go along about anything that I think you need to know about the video, then I'll mention it. But I think I've covered everything now. Okay, so starting us off today at number 15 is an artist that I love to bits. I've mentioned that a few times now on the channel. Brilliant artist. This is a very synthy, proggy record. It's a very long record, but I do enjoy it. Maybe not as much as some of the others that he's got in his catalogue, but certainly enough for it to be in my top 15 for 1975, and that record is Initiation by Todd Rundgren. So there we go, you can see that cover art there, the Leonardo da Vinci reference there on the front cover, and then there's the back cover there as well. Quite distinctive typeface there for the track listing. So yeah, interesting record, this one. The reason being that, as I mentioned, it's over an hour long, but it was only pressed on one record, and that was due to, I believe, a plastic shortage at the time when the record came out. And there's actually a note here on the original inner from Todd himself. It's a technical note, so I'll just read it out as a point of interest before I get into favourite tracks and things. So it says, due to the amount of music on this disc, over 1 hour, 2 points must be emphasised. Firstly, if your needle is worn or damaged, it will ruin this disc immediately. Secondly, if the sound does not seem loud enough on your system, try re-recording the music onto tape. By the way, thanks for buying the album. So yeah, there was a lot of jiggery-pokery that was involved at Todd's end in terms of getting this record to fit onto one slab of vinyl. So I think there was things he had to do on side one where he had to speed certain tracks up, and he had to do stuff regarding the bass, so that the needle literally would not pop out of the groove. So yeah, I mean, he was totally committed to making sure that every piece, every second of music that you hear here was included on the album. And it doesn't appear to be that trimming any of it what was an option for Todd. So he is in full synth prog mode here, as I mentioned before. So he's continuing really for me the music that he started, back with A Wizard of True Star. Then he continued it with Todd, the self-titled album, which was on a double vinyl, and then we get Initiation here. So favourite tracks, Real Man, brilliant Todd song. I think Real Man is one of the best songs that he did. Opens the album off. Born to Synthesize is interesting, I would say. I appreciate it as a piece. Um, Again, on an album that I would say is pretty experimental. Certainly a bit of a voyaging sound, I should say. There are some really interesting things that do pop up and come in and out of the mix. I don't know if it would be for everybody, this album, but I do enjoy it just in terms of a person, flexing his creative muscles and just really putting it all out there. It's very daring in that respect. And yeah, if you're into your prog music, then I do think you will connect with it. The Death of Rock and Roll is very good as well. And then on side two, we get like a bit of a concept, really. Todd is no stranger to concepts. Side two, we get a treatise on cosmic fire, and then we get a variety of different acts or sections which comprise the treatise. There, we go through a bit of an experimental journey with that one, and some of those pieces are really interesting. I would say. It probably take me a while to go through each part of it, to be honest, and my videos are already at I would say a comfortable length. So I will leave anybody who's interested in exploring this particular record to check out the treatise on Cosmic Fire themselves. But side one's a little bit more straightforward, I would say, which typically is the way that Todd does tend to work. I would say that's more of an easygoing side, and then side two a little bit more cerebral, perhaps. But yeah, Eastern Intrigue is very good as well. Fair Warning, yeah, should mention Fair Warning is a good Todd track. So I think that's a nice album to get us started for 1975. And yeah, just holding that record there in my hand, it's a very thick record, that one. And when you look at the tracks on it, they're so close together. So yeah, a little bit of a sonic achievement there from Todd. There's other albums, of course, to check out from him, maybe ahead of that one, but yeah, I do like it. It's got a place here for me. Okay, so moving on to a band now from the UK that I've got a lot of love for. Great group, arty, glammy. Move more into kind of a sort of a new wavy direction as their career progressed. Always very interesting, just brilliant to look at as a group. Just great songwriting. We've got Siren by Roxy Music, and there we've got on the front cover Jerry Hall, model from Texas, I believe she was from. And yeah, that's one of my favourite Roxy Music front covers. They always had really. I tried to think of a different word to striking. That's a bit of a running joke there for people who are new to the channel. Striking being my go-to word for describing album covers. But yeah, they did always have, let's just say covers that caught the eye at Roxy Music. They did tend to put a lot of thought into their cover art and, framing them, composition, colour usage, positioning, all that kind of thing. I'm not a professional photographer, but I do always really appreciate cover art when it's done with a real sense of purpose. And then we just get some sketches there of the band members there on the back, with Mr. Ferry there in the middle. So yeah, a good Roxy Music album. It was the fifth one in their discography. We've got Brian Ferry on here, as I've just mentioned, voices and keyboards, Andrew Mackay, oboe, saxophone, Paul Thompson drums, Phil Manzanera guitar, Edwin Jobson on string synthesizer and keyboards, and then John Gustafson on bass as well. So that's the lineup there at that time. Jerry Hall is credited here on the back as well, produced by Chris Thomas. So favourite tracks, Love is the Drug. Brilliant song, that one. Side one, track one, excellent Roxy Music track, Love is the Drug. Really enjoyable. Takes me right back to when I first discovered the band through the Street Life compilation, which was my, my entry point into Roxy. Brilliant stuff, great song, that one. Sentimental Fool on side one is a song I've always enjoyed a lot as well. We get Both Ends Burning on side two, which is superb. Nightingale is another one I like a lot. So yeah, for me, it's a good solid album, that one. Again, it might not be an album that would be, well, I mean, I suppose for some people it could be a good introduction to Roxy music. As I said, I mean, for me it was a compilation which got me into them, and then I loved that album so much that I just, chose then to go away and buy all of the studio albums for my collection, just because I just couldn't believe the quality of what I was hearing. But I think for me personally, as a starting point, maybe go for Your Pleasure. I think is a great way to start with Roxy, or even just go to the self-titled debut as well. Because I think with Roxy, because of that progression in sound, from the Eno years and then the way they carried on, it might just be worth going with them in a chronological direction if you are indeed new to this band. So that's my pick there, Siren by Roxy Music. Great UK music there. Okay, so we're staying in the UK now for my next pick, but we are going up to Scotland for a band that I love dearly. I've mentioned before in the channel, I have been into them now for a very long time, but I still wish that I discovered them earlier than I did. Just so I could have had even longer with them. But I shouldn't be too spoiled about it. At least I know I do know them, and I've had the pleasure of listening to all of their albums and enjoying them immensely. So my next choice here, we've got the sensational Alex Harvey Band and that wonderful, wonderful album cover there for Tomorrow Belongs to Me. And yeah, they were really good at doing this, the sensational Alex Harvey Band, or Saab for short, which might be how I continue to refer to them for the rest of this brief commentary, just because the full name's a bit of a mouthful. But there you go, as a gatefold. So let's just try and get that in. But yeah, what I was going to say is that they did utilise the whole sort of comic strip thing to excellent effect on quite a couple of their albums, and certainly like a best of compilation I've got as well. There's a brilliant cover to that where they've got Alex, in a comic book form in his trademark stripy jumper. So there you can just see just a great get it in there, great photograph of the band there on stage. So yeah, superb, great album. Really enjoy this one a lot. I put it on just when I feel like a bit of a boogie. Want to rock out to. It's on Vertigo. So it opens up very strongly with Actionstrasse. Great Saab track, that one. I think a lot of fans of the band would agree that's definitely one of their best songs. And then it continues then with Snakebite. I mean, wow, to be honest, side one is truly excellent. Soul in Chains is brilliant as well. The Tale of the Giant Stone Eater, Ribs and Balls, then to close side one. Yeah, this is a really strong album. Wow, yeah, side two as well, track one. Give my compliments to the chef. The self-titled track as well is brilliant. So yeah, I would really recommend getting that one. A little bit of a spoiler, it isn't my favourite Saab album, but it's definitely up there, because it is a very consistent album, that one. And as I mentioned, if you're just in the mood for some good 70s, hard rock, there's a bit of blues in there. Little bit of prog, I think, as well in places, perhaps, maybe a little bit of a stretch. But I just think if you're more leaning towards your hard rock and you just want some, good time music, something that will, like I mentioned, will get you boogie and get you moving, then I would definitely recommend Tomorrow Belongs to Me. And I think if I'm just going to mention a track in isolation to put on, because I do tend to do that every now and again with albums that I'm showing off, just again for anybody who may be new to them, I would check out both Actionstrasse and give my compliments to the chef. I think that those are two very fine picks from that album. So that is that one, Tomorrow Belongs to Me. Okay, so moving on, I would say this album now is a little bit of maybe a stylistic detour for me in terms of records that I typically show on my channel. Jazz music for me is something that I have a lot of appreciation for. I have listened to jazz records. I did have some jazz albums on CD, but as I've mentioned before, they are long gone now, and they all got sold off in one, my entire collection a while back. But it's definitely a genre that I feel is certainly lacking. Let's just say that. And the reason that I got this album, it is a jazz album, I would say, is because my favourite artist of all time is Prince, which I've mentioned numerous times before. Again, for people who don't know me, I'm a huge Prince fan, and if you do stick around, you'll learn that about me very quickly. So this was a record that Prince spoke very, very highly of, and that obviously piqued my interest. I'd heard some other albums by this artist which I'd enjoyed a lot. I even had a couple of them on CD, but they were more of a sort of a more traditional folk vibe, I would say. So this one for me, I've got it up pretty highly. I mean, it's in the top 15 because the times I've put it on, I've really, really enjoyed it, but I've not played it in full and really absorbed it for quite a long time because I've owned this record for a good while now. But that album in question, it's Joanie Mitchell, and it is the Hissing of Summer Lawns. So I do have Prince to thank for talking this album up. I know he did. I mean, Joanie Mitchell was definitely one of Prince's idols. He had nothing but the utmost respect for Joanie. She is an amazing songwriter. That's clear and obvious and very well documented. There's not really anything that I can add to that particular debate or discussion. Everything that's been said about Joanie, quite rightly, from a musician point of view, has been said. But yeah, this is just a really I'm really happy to have it because it is just something that represents something a little bit different for me within my collection. And if I could find, more sort of jazzy albums that sounded like this and had the kind of effect on me that this album does, then I would certainly be open to exploring the genre in more detail. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, and there's some great guest musicians on here. Got James Taylor on here making an appearance. David Crosby and Graham Nash are on here as well. So yeah, lovely jazz music, courtesy of Joanie Mitchell. And that other album that I was referring to before, I had Blue on CD, so I knew of a couple of other albums of hers, but this was one that I did want to get on vinyl, and I found it at a very good price many years ago when I was really in my full-on Prince phase, although to be honest that's never really left me. So let's get into some of these into these favourite tracks. I do love the title track a lot. That's got a great vibe to it, nice feel to it. Sweet Bird towards the end of the album is one that I enjoy a lot as well. Yeah, In France They Kiss on Main Street is a really strong opener. And I would also mention that I do like as well, on what is a consistently good album, Don't Interrupt the Sorrow is another one that I want to mention as well. Just make sure that got it's just a plain inner on that one. But yeah, it's a very nice album, that, very nice indeed, and I definitely will spend more time with it. I need to revise the album a little bit more. I've had my time with it a while ago, and I know that the great thing about having these albums in your collection is that you can return to them. And whilst I did do a little bit of prep, as I always do for these albums, I reacquaint myself with the records as much as I can with the time I've got before I want to do a recording. That one might be one that I even sit down with sooner rather than later, when I give myself a bit of a holiday, a bit of a break over the festive season coming up at the time of this being recorded, and spend a bit of time with that one. So there we go, Joanie Mitchell, the Hissing of Summer Lawns. Okay, wow, right. I'm just saying wow because the artwork on this one is a real it's a real trip. This one, I'm just looking at it here now at the back. Okay, so we're moving away from that kind of sultry, sort of slinky, jazzy, experimental vibe there of Joanie, and we're getting into, again, there is some experimentation on here, but this is really funky, really funky. Big clue there. Rocks out a lot as well. An album, or at least a song on here that's had an impact on the hip hop community, with one of my favourite tunes on here being sampled by the likes of NWA and Public Enemy. So you may already know which band I'm talking about on which album. So from 1975, we've got Let's Take It to the Stage by Funkadelic. Look at that for a front cover there, with Reagan, character Linda Blair there from The Exorcist there, character. Let's turn it that way there, so you can see. And then on the back, we've got all that going on there. Look at that as well. So yeah, this one is a gatefold. Okay, so let's see what's in here. Okay, let's try and get that in there if I can. There you go. Funkadelic Main Invasion Force. There you go. So I'm just trying to make sure I get all that in for you. Let's just go back a bit. There we go. Hopefully that worked. And you can take in all that artwork. You may need to pause the video there just so you can take a look at it. Zoom in on anything of interest there as well. So there we go. But yeah, I mean, Funkadelic are a group. I absolutely love Funkadelic. Again, have to say Prince was a huge contributing force to me getting into Funkadelic. Another group that he spoke very, very highly of. Worked with George Clinton. Just always I'm always encouraged with any artist that I really get into to explore the roots, the origins of the bands or artists who influenced them, and Funkadelic again were no exception. But I've just grown to love them. I really, really have. Some brilliant musicianship on here, as you'd expect. I'm just looking at this lineup here. Cool Carl Simon's on here, Bad Bosco, yeah, Bernie Worrell, of course, yeah. Shady Grady Thomas. Yeah, these pictures are really, really good. George Clinton himself, who's credited as the Maggot Overlord, is on here. Yeah, Mike Hammond as well. Yeah, brilliant. Great lineup here at this point. Alumni, it's got the alumni listed on here as well. The likes of Bootsy and Eddie Hazel's listed there as well. So yeah, superb. So that track I was talking to you about before, that's been sampled in the hip hop community, is "Get Off Your Ass and Jam." It's a 2 minute track on here, absolutely brilliant. It just that one definitely gets you moving. It's got a brilliant side one opener as well, track one, which is Good to Your Ear Hole. That's 4.5 minutes long, that one. What else do I like on here? Well, I mean, those two, the sort of the bookends of side one are just absolutely brilliant. Yeah, let's take it to the stage. The title track is good, and then let's pick one off side two as well. Yeah, Atmosphere at the end is good. Yeah, 7 minutes. That one is a good closer. It's quite pretty cool, that one. And I owe you something good as well. So yeah, I would say that on this album, the tracks that are kind of opening and closing each side in particular are very strong. But that is an enjoyable album all the way through. So if you're looking for some fun, funky rock music, there's some really good guitar playing on there as well, as you'd expect. And it goes without saying, from a rhythmic sense, your percussion, your bass work is top notch. Brilliant stuff from Funkadelic. Then please do check that album out. So I'm just going to get that in there now. Let's take it to the stage there. Okay, so that's my next pick for 1975. There with that very colourful cover art. Right, okay. Next one, right. So another band I've mentioned on the channel before. Another band from the US here as well. Love these guys. So clever, brilliant, thoughtful. Just musicianship is just on another scale. Production, the way the records always sound. Yeah, what a band. And another genius front cover as well, which I've mentioned about this group before. So next up we've got Katie Lied by Steely Dan. Is my next pick for 1975. And the reason why I love this front cover, I'm not sure if it's on a genius level, in my opinion, to Pretzel Logic, which I've discussed on the channel before. But Katie Lied, the album title, is a reference to the song Doctor Wu, which is on this album. That's my favourite song on the album, Doctor Wu. That went on to be covered by the Minutemen in 1984 on the Double Nickels on the Dime album, which I would certainly recommend. One of the best albums of the 80s for me. But yeah, so we've got here a Katie Did inset. So Katie Lied, Katie Did, which I just always found really clever, which you would expect from Steely Dan. So yeah, that's just because the song Doctor Who talks about Katie Lies. It opens up with this whole story about that, and then yeah, there's like a little nod there with the Katie Did as the choice of cover. So brilliant stuff there from Steely Dan. I applaud you on your cleverness. Okay, and then we've got Walter Becker as usual here, Donald Fagen, who are the core of Steely Dan. So there's Walter, and we've got, yeah, there's just the one picture of, yeah, whoa, there we go, Donald over there. Still can't get that right after all these videos. You'd think nearly 40 videos or whatever into my channel that I'd get the pointing nailed, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. So I really need to practice that one. But yeah, brilliant this one. So Mike McDonald, Roger Nichols, yeah, Jeff Piccaro's that. Piccaro. Apologies for that if I butchered that one, my eyesight there. Piccaro. Gary Katz is on here as well. Denny Diaz as well with a great hat on in that photograph there with Donald at the top. Yeah, brilliant. So let's get to these favourite tracks. Yeah, I've already mentioned Doctor Wu. Absolutely superb. Black Friday, side one. Not the Black Friday, I think, that we know of now. I mean, this was in 1975. So yeah, Chain Lightning is very good as well. Daddy Don't Live in That New York City No More. Really good track. Really good. Everyone's Gone to the Movies as well. Superb. But you know, that one there, all the way through, as you'd expect with Steely Dan, very consistent. And to me personally, please do let me know if you disagree in the comments or whatever. But I really don't think during the, you know, that 70s run that Steely Dan had, I really don't think they put out a bad album. I really don't. I think all of them, at the very least, are a 4-star album in my opinion, and I would say at least 2 or 3 of them are 5-star records over that period. You know, from when they kicked off, running through during this decade. I just think they were just an incredibly good band. Brilliant group. So good, as I say. Great lyrics as well. Really clever. You know, tying in lots of different emotions, you know, lots of different subjects, coming at things just from different angles, fresh perspectives. I'm not going to put that in. Don't like the crackly covers on when I'm recording. I'll put that in later. But yeah, another very strong album in their discography. Please do check out Katie Live by Steely Dan. And yeah, Song in Isolation from that one, just to maybe get you started. Do check out Doctor Wu. Okay. Right, moving on. So here we've got a group who recruited 2 members who went on to become pivotal to the band, to their evolution in sound, to their commercial fortunes as well. They went from very much being one guys into something completely different when these 2 band members joined them. Coming over from the US, they were a couple. They had talent to burn. They had ideas for days. You know, they were 2 people that just came in, hit the ground running, and the rest is history. Truly is, in terms of what this quintet, beg your pardon, went on to achieve. So I'm now talking about Fleetwood Mac, the self-titled album from 1975. Love this record. If I think if I'd been doing this ranking series maybe at least 10 years ago or whatever, this would have been higher up. There's just some albums now that I've discovered that I think, certainly the next one over it, that I'll talk about in a moment, that have led to this record for me, just, you know, lowering a little bit, but still a record that I really love and enjoy. I've got a big place in my heart for it. But yeah, other things come into your life, and other albums, you know, will and can and do at times take over or go a little bit higher. These things tend to fluctuate. So we've got Mr. Mick Fleetwood there, tall enough as it is there, but looking exceptionally tall on that photograph. And then we've got a rather short. I used to do that stuff when I was a lot younger. There's a picture of me doing that at a music festival I went to years ago. It's just making me think back. I've not even thought about that since looking at that. But that's John McVie there playing around, bass player there. So we've got Fleetwood and we've got Mac there. And yeah, you know, obviously those members I was talking about before, but just in case anybody isn't aware of Fleetwood Mac, those 2 members that came into the fray that changed everything. We've got Stevie Nicks here. There's Stevie. And then we've got Lindsey Buckingham over there. And then he's joining the core group here. So there's John McVie again at his regular height. And then we've got Mick Fleetwood there at his regular height, although he looks like he's slouching, you know, a little touch there. And then Christine McVie in the middle. So Christine, yeah, John were married. Right, but great album. So, you know, you've got Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks joining, bringing this whole new sound into play. You know, by this point or at this stage, or they had been, Fleetwood Mac had been this tremendous blues outfit, with Peter Green leading them, and having these incredible hits such as Albatross, and they'd written some fantastic songs, Black Magic Woman, etc., etc. But then you get these this young couple coming in, and like I mentioned, just the songwriting ability of the pair of them is just tremendous. Lindsey Buckingham is one of my guitar heroes. Love his playing to bits. Stevie Nicks is, for me, one of my favourite ever female singers. Well, singers full stop, I should say, really. Just a phenomenal talent, brilliant lyricist as well. And we've got some great songs on here as well. So let's get into them. Rhiannon, which is a Nicks composition. I've always loved Rhiannon. Landslide is an absolute classic, beautiful acoustic guitar-led number. That's a Stevie Nicks track as well. We've got I'm So Afraid, which closes the album off, which is by Buckingham. And then we get a lovely track from Buckingham actually to open the album as well, called Monday Morning, which is one of his. But all the way through, again, it's a good, strong, consistent album. And then, yeah, as we all know, in a couple of years' time from this one, Fleetwood Mac go absolutely stratospheric with their next recording. So let's see if we've got any bits of interest in here. We have. Just so we keep everything ticking over there. There we go. We've got a lyric sheet. The penguin there. So you can see the lyric sheet there, hopefully. That's in view. But yeah, great album. Oh, Say You Love Me, I should mention as well if I didn't. I think I did. No, I didn't. Yeah, Say You Love Me is a McVie song. Brilliant. Absolutely great song, that. So yeah, please do check out Fleetwood Mac. Both the band and the album if you haven't done so. I'm a really big fan of this band. Get a little bit of stick off my mates for it. Don't really know why, but I do. I think there's one of my other mates in my core kind of friendship group who's a big Fleetwood Mac fan as well, but some of my other mates don't get it, which is on them. But I always champion Fleetwood Mac and defend them to the hilt whenever I get into these little good-natured convos with my mates, usually over a few beers, and they don't seem to understand why I love them so much, but I do. So there you go. And as mentioned, I could listen to Lindsey Buckingham play that guitar forever and a day, and I would be very, very happy. So that for me is a lovely album, and I'm very happy to have it. Okay, so the next record now is one that has risen in stock very quickly. It is an artist who I am continuing my journey with. I've mentioned that a few times. I do not claim in any way, shape or form to be an expert on this artist. I'm still very much a student of him myself. But all I can say is that what I've heard of him, what I know of him in terms of his artistic vision, his musicianship, his band leader qualities, his compositional skills, maybe not so much on the lyrical side, because I do think with some of the lyrics, it's a bit maybe one of those you maybe kind of have to be in the mood for it, but just because of some of the the themes and subject matter. But in terms of just sheer musicality, I have really enjoyed everything that I've picked up by this artist and the bands that he's been involved with and the various projects he's done. So I'm kind of in a bit of a place with him where whenever I'm out hunting in the wild for vinyl, if I see something by him that I don't have and it's within my budget for that day, I do tend to pull the trigger and go for it and buy it. So this one was no exception. So I was over in Germany. You'll see from the price sticker here on the back of the record, which I just can't get off, and I don't want to leave some horrible marking on the cover. Although it's not actually on the cover itself, but it's just a pesky one. It won't come off. I paid €16 for it when I was over in Bremen, which is one of my favourite cities in the world. That's over in Germany. And I was delighted to have it and to get it and find it because I've done a lot of research on this chap. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, and this album tends to be one that huge fans of him either have number one or usually top 5, top 10. And given the sheer number of records that this person put out in the lifetime, that for me was enough to make me think, if I ever find it, if I ever see it, I'm going to get it, and get it I did. So I'm talking about Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention with One Size Fits All. And I would not be surprised at all. I can already think of a few people who have very kindly followed my channel for a good while now, some of them from the very beginning, who are massive Frank Zappa fans, who may even well have this as their number one for 1975. I would have no argument with that at all. How could I? You know, music is purely subjective. We should all remember that and we should all respect that. But this for me is a record that, again, I know that I'm going to have a journey with it. I'm going to continue to enjoy it and appreciate it. And I'm sure that over time, the longer that I get to have with it, it may, it may continue to rise in stock. But given some of these albums have already shown you that I really do enjoy, the likes of Saab and Fleetwood Mac, Funkadelic, etc., Todd Rundgren, Roxy Music, I feel that where I've got this Zappa record at the moment is a good place for it and for the connection that I currently have with it. So there's the gatefold. So let's see if I can just get all that in shot for you there as well, without that ring light there doing what it does. And then we've got, one of Zappa's classic front covers there with the sofa. I mean, that is a really sort of immediate image. Definitely, I would say one of Zappa's more eye-catching. I mean, well, he had a lot of eye-catching front covers, to be fair, Zappa, he did. He certainly didn't, he didn't let himself down in the front cover states, but I do think that one is definitely an iconic cover, let's just say that. And then we've got all that there going on the back. Okay, so very interesting as you would expect from Zappa, even before you've heard a note of music. We've just got that cover out there to get us started. So one of the reasons why I love this album so much, from the time that I've had with it, is I just love Inca Roads. Love that song so much that opens up the album. The playing on that is just out of this world. It's so good. So much that I'm thinking about. I'm gonna probably go and play it after I've finished recording. Can't afford no shoes as well. And then I should mention the significance of the sofa. Sorry, because I was waffling. Is that we get 2 tracks on here: sofa number 1, sofa number 2, which is of course a reference there to the sofa on the front cover. What else do we love on here? San Bernardino's really good as well. These are all really good that's one of those albums, to be honest. I mean, I would say that my favorite is Inca Roads, without any doubt. Can't Afford No Shoes I really do love as well. Pajama People is a good listen as well. That's over 7.5 minutes, that track. But with that one, I would just play the whole thing and really experience that one. I mean, that tends to be the case with a lot of Zappa albums. They're just a journey from beginning to end. Always just so thought-provoking, and as I say, they always sound great as well. Certainly the albums that I've got, and believe me, I'm nowhere near even close to owning even, I would say, a smidge of what Zappa's done. I think I might only have about, I think I've got at least over 10 albums, but I mean, I think Zappa put out about 40 odd 50 albums. I mean, I'm sure someone there can give me the correct number in the comments, but dozens of albums. So I've still got a long way to go with him, but everything I've bought to date and played, I've loved. That one's no exception. So please do check out One Size Fits All. There's that pesky sticker that if anybody's interested in seeing that, there we go. So I felt €16 was a good price for it. I'd seen it in other places in the UK, and a lot of shops were asking for more than double that. So I actually felt that was a bit of a bargain. It's in lovely condition, as you can see. It plays great as well. Let me just check if there's because I've shown the gatefold off. It's just it's just one of those generic sleeves on that one. So nothing to show with that one there. But very happy to own it, and I'm going to continue to have a lot of enjoyment with that one. But I'll check out Inca Roads from that, please do. If you're new to Zappa, you want to learn a bit more about that album, let me know what you think of that. Might have bigged it up too much for some people, but I love that track. Okay, so moving on. So moving away from Zappa now. So we're still in the US here. So we've got a really good selection of US artists, I would say, here for 1975, which is great. So this one's an album that takes me back to childhood a bit more, really. I say childhood, maybe early high school years, sort of 11, 12. But I mean, I listened to this album a lot in my teens as well. Kind of moved away from him for a while when I got a bit older and started, getting more into post-punk. And I mean, post-punk and stuff is like the I would say the genre that lives and breathes through me the most. But then, I've got Prince as my favourite artist too. Don't really think I had many post-punk albums, but yeah, I mean, I have got a very sort of, multifaceted genre appreciation. I would say I'm into, if I like it, I like it, and regardless of what it comes from, I love a lot of classical music as well. But I'm rambling. So what I was saying here is that this album in particular, I would say I've got it where I've got it because there is a long history with it. It's a very enjoyable album. It's a classic record, and I just felt that I couldn't really put it any lower, but then I couldn't really put it any higher just because of some other albums, maybe artistically or in other ways, maybe satisfy that thing that I've got that I look for in music a little bit more. So that album takes me right back. Is Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, the one and only Bruce Springsteen. We've got the boss there. Wonderful, wonderful front cover. Got Clarence Clemens here on the back, joining him here on the gatefold. So let's just open that up there on the saxophone. That is a superb front cover, that. Always loved it. And then we get a great photo of Bruce here in the gatefold as well. Hailing, of course, from New Jersey. There he is. So yeah, I mean, I played it so much. When I felt really grown up, sort of, when I was about, like I say, 12, 13, thinking I was getting into more sort of full on proper music, as it were. And, it is great music. It truly, truly is. It's that sort of Heartland rock thing, isn't it? It's very much, all about sort of, wide open roads, very adventurous, very cinematic, romantic. Of course, Born to Run, the title track is an absolute classic. I'll always just be there for that brilliant guitar intro, that whole sound of it. Just brilliant, the big sax part that comes in. Great song, that one. But again, very, very strong throughout, to be honest. I know all these songs so well. Thunder Road, though, clearly warrants a mention to kick us off. Brilliant song, that one. Backstreets as well, Jungle Land to close. Yeah, I mean, it's a classic for a reason. I mean, come on, it's Born to Run. I'd be surprised if a few of us out there, maybe people that tune into my channel, maybe didn't have it in their selection for 75, but then they just might not be big Bruce Springsteen fans. So again, it's all down to personal opinion, isn't it? But for me, I do really enjoy a lot of Bruce Springsteen's albums. Someone I've always wanted to watch live. I've never got to see him live, but yeah, I'm really happy to have that album, and maybe more of a nostalgia pick, that one, although its quality for me can't be denied. It sounds great. Bruce is on fine form vocally, very powerful as you'd expect. He's assembled a great band here as well. Really, really tight, great playing. So if you are, unaware of Born to Run, the record, please do check out the title track, see how you go with that one, and then take it from there. Yeah, really, really good. Okay, so how many have I got left? So we might be heading towards the top five now. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've got 6 left to show. So is that right? Yeah, it will be. Yeah, 6 left to show. So at this stage, usually, if you're still with me, I like to say thank you for still being here and listening to me waffling on. I really appreciate it. It means a lot, and I hope that you've enjoyed my picks so far. So let's keep moving, and we'll get into that top 5 then. Okay, so number 6 here we've got an artist that needs no introduction, as many of these bands and artists have shown you today don't need any introduction, so I'll just get right on with it. It's the one and only David Bowie, and I've got him here with Young Americans. What a cover. What a cover that is. I've always loved it. I love the whole sort of soft focus look of it. It's always given me like a bit of a sort of like kind of like a Marlene Dietrich sort of vibe to it. You can just imagine him almost like a bit of a Hollywood style, European cinema kind of feel, look to that picture. It is for me very, very nostalgic looking. It's just a great shot of Bowie. So, he's moved here now through, through the 1970s. We've had his Ziggy Stardust phase and all that wonderful glam rock he was putting out, all that thought-provoking stuff that he was doing lyrically and with his image and everything. We've just had Diamond Dogs coming out in 74, and then I feel that with Diamond Dogs, he was starting to throw some breadcrumbs as to where that sound was going to go to next, and I think he really starts to explore it here with this sort of, what was it, Plastic Soul, Blue Eyed Soul sound that he's really doing here on Young Americans. I think that Diamond Dogs was setting us up for that move, that transition from one phase of Bowie very much into another one, and then we've got all that wonderful, post-punky Berlin stuff to come, which I'm rather excited about because I do love Bowie to bits. So anyway, let's keep it on Young Americans. So excellent album, hence me having it as high as I've got it. Yeah, that again is just a plain inner on that one. Let's get into the personnel. So let me see. Gosh, my eyes. Yeah. So drums here, Dennis Davis is listed. Andy Newmark as well. Bass, yeah, Willie Weeks is on here. Amir Kassan's on here. Oh, of course, Carlos, yeah. Carlos Aldemar on guitar. Alomar, sorry, I should say. Beg your pardon. Carlos Alomar on guitar. Bowie, of course, throughout. Got John Lennon listed on here, of course, as well, on Across the Universe. And Fame, John Lennon there making an appearance on this record, which, I'm sure at the time was very exciting. Having Bowie and Lennon working together, and yeah, I quite like the version of Across the Universe. I don't mind it, to be honest. I mean, I prefer the original, but it's here and it's enjoyable. David Sanborn, of course, on sax as well. Yeah, this is great, and yeah, I have to mention that. Of course, I do. We've got one Luther Vandross on here as well. Vandross on backing vocals, doing a brilliant job, young Luther, and then he, of course, went on to have a legendary career, phenomenal singer, absolutely love Luther, brilliant, great singer, so great to have him on here as well. So yeah, it's quite the cast on here, isn't it? We've got some, heavyweight hitters there, and the likes of Lennon, of course, working with Bowie. Carlos has been always one of my favourite, guitar players with who work with Bowie. Although of course we can't, we have to throw Mick Ronson into that debate as well. But yeah, this is great. So favourite songs. I mean, Young Americans, the song itself, absolutely wonderful. One of my favourite ever Bowie songs. That, and just out of interest, The Cure, who I'm a band that I love dearly. The Cure have done a really good cover of Young Americans as well. I'd encourage you to seek that version out, and of course listen to the original. Fame is another brilliant one. Love Fame again with with the Lennon collaboration. Excellent stuff. Somebody Up There Likes Me is on here as well. Fascination. So yeah, very good album, that one. I enjoy all the tracks on it, but I would say that Fame and Young Americans, with that one being the top. Somebody Up There Likes Me are sort of the ones that I would say of the bunch are really strong. But yeah, Can You Hear Me as well? Yeah, this is good. So yeah, not my favourite Bowie album. If you go digging into my videos, you may find the answer to that one if you're interested. But yeah, one that I do enjoy a lot, and one that I do think really ushered in that new phase of his career very effectively. So I'd be interested to know in the comments where other people rate Young Americans. Is it one of your favourite Bowie albums? Is it your fave? Is it one that you don't really have much time for? Please do let me know. Okay, so I think I covered everything on that one. And again, apologies for the slight mispronunciation of Carl Salomar's name as well. I did know that, and just me tongue tripped me up there in the moment, so apologies for that. Okay, so we are in the top 5 now. So ranking these was difficult. They always are, to be honest, aren't they? And I do always try and remind myself, it's a bit of fun. But because the fact is, I mean, if they're here and they're in the top 15 and I own them, then it means I've got a lot of love and respect and admiration for them, because otherwise I wouldn't own them. So yeah, it was tricky, and I don't know how the 5 will land with people, the ordering, but I'm going to go for it because it's how I feel about them. So at number 5, we have got here an absolute monster of a rock album. It's a double, which is already a big clue, with that iconic New York tenement block on the front cover and on the back. St. Mark's Place, I believe it was. Physical Graffiti, of course, by Led Zeppelin. So there you go, nice short introduction to that one, with that brilliant, cut out effect there on the front cover with you can sort of change it there, can't you? Change it up, putting different people into the windows. But yeah, I mean, physical graffiti. I could talk a lot about it. I could talk, not so much about it because it's one of them where everything or so much has been said about it. It's just one of those albums, and the one after it as well, to be fair, falls into the same bracket. It sort of transcends discussion to some extent, especially when you're doing a video like here where you could talk about it forever in a day, or we can just realize or just appreciate its brilliance, what it set out to achieve, and more importantly just sit down with the music itself and listen to it and come up with our own thoughts and feelings about it. So there we go. So it's all present and correct, my copy. So let's show you these bits and pieces first before we go into my favorite tracks. So yeah, the idea is that you can take out the lettering that comprises the front cover, and you can put all these people here into your windows. Having a good nosy out. There you go. So that's that one, and then we've got that one here as well. So I did pay a pretty penny for this one, but I wanted to get it. I wanted to get a nice copy of it. I think it's quite an old pressing. It's not one of these more recent pressings or anything. I do think it's. I'm not sure if it's a 70s, if it's a late 70s pressing. It might be actually, maybe 78, 79, something like that. But the album came out in 75, as we know. But yeah, I got it in Stratford upon Avon during a business trip that I took. And I had a bit of time out after the business side of things had been done. Found a brilliant record shop. Went to the local market there as well. Picked up a few things. If you want to find out a bit more about that hunt, then I did actually do a video on that. I'll pop a link into the description into the box for that one if you wanna take a look at it, make it easy for you to find. Anyone who's watching, I'll pop it in, and you can see my Stratford vinyl hunt where. A bit of a spoiler, I did pick up this album, but it's worth watching because you'll see some of the other albums I got as well. Okay, so let's get into the track listings here. So, favourites. Wow. This is a tricky one. Well, right off the bat, I mean, it's obvious, I'm sure, for a lot of people as a pick, but, I can be obvious. I have my obvious moments. Kashmir is my favourite track on the album. It's one of my favourite Led Zeppelin songs, full stop. I do also love The Rover on side one. Custard Pie is a very enjoyable opener. Got Houses of the Holy on here, which is very good. Trampled Underfoot, I like the kind of the funkiness that pervades the track in places. I like the mixture of sounds on this record, I should mention. It is very multifaceted. It does go in a lot of different directions. Down by the Seaside, 10 Years Gone on side 3 are really good. Then we've got Black Country Woman side 4, the Wanson song, Boogie with Stew. They're more sort of interesting pieces there, closing off side 4. I do think the first 3 sides for me, I enjoy more. I do enjoy side 4, but I think sides 1 and 2 in particular, I think are absolutely brilliant. I mean, In My Time of Dying, wonderful, epic track, that one. That is, yeah, it's over 11 minutes long, that one. So there's a lot of music on here. It is a double album, but its reputation is there for a reason. And I would encourage people who maybe haven't heard Physical Graffiti before or aren't really aware of Led Zeppelin. Maybe you're thinking about going into them, or maybe you're more familiar with some of their earlier albums. Please do give this one a listen. Please let me know what you think of it. And yeah, I can't recommend it highly enough. I think it's an absolutely wonderful album. Again, not my favourite Led Zeppelin album, actually. It isn't, but it is a wonderful album. And as I've mentioned before, with all of these records, I am very pleased indeed to own it. And I felt I got that at a good price at the shop that I bought it from. So yeah, I'll put that link in for people to check that particular journey out over in Stratford upon Avon. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, so we are now up to number 4. Yeah, number 4. Again, I'm just going to get straight into it. A band that needs no introduction whatsoever. Would not be surprised again, could have no argument if people have it at number one for the year. It sounds incredible, as these albums by this band do. One of the most iconic front covers in history. We've got Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. It is my number four though. It's how I feel. I have to judge my record rankings on a variety of different things. It's to do with my own personal connection with these albums, how long they've been in my life, how they make me feel, the way that they're engineered, the way they're produced, the sequencing of the songs, lyrical strength, musical strength. There's so many considerations, but for me, I think having it at number four is fair in terms of my own relationship with it. But it is an absolutely marvelous album. That cannot be questioned. So we've got, without question, one of my favourite ever Pink Floyd songs on here. We've got Shine On You Crazy Diamond, which is obviously in tribute to Syd Barrett, written for him. Incredible, absolutely incredible song. That just has to be heard. Excuse me, voice cracking a little bit there. What a song. I mean, that guitar work in it as well. I mean, everybody in the band is on stunning form here, but yeah, the guitar playing on it is just out of this world. David Gilmour, brilliant. Have a Cigar as well. I've always loved, always enjoyed. Got Wish You Were Here, of course, as well. Let's take the record out and show you that. You can see my pressing of it. There we go, just in case anyone's interested there on that. Yeah. How good is it? Yeah, just looking it through. Parts 1 to 5 there. Then yeah. I love the Wish You Were Here bit as well on here, it's listed. So you got A there, Have a Cigar, then you got B, Wish You Were Here. C, Shine On Your Crazy Diamond, 6 to 9. It's all broken up into different parts as well. But yeah, it's whoops, whoa. got it. It's all safe, everybody. I'm a professional, know what I'm doing. So yeah, great stuff, great album. One that you need to experience. It's a journey, it's a trip, it's an experience. Put it on, ideally get the headphones on with that one. Got lost a little bit there, didn't I, looking over that there and getting into that. That's one that I would have preferred again to have stuck on in more detail, just in preparation for the ranking. I've not listened to it for ages, to be honest. But I mean, it's been there for such a long time in my collection, and might even been one that I got. I can't even remember how old I was when I got that. Might have even been back from when I worked in the shop thinking about it, but that's a story for another time, isn't it? It's not really all that interesting where and when I got it, but yeah, I mean, what an album. Wish You Were Here. I think I'm losing myself a bit with it just because it's just been discussed, hasn't it, and critiqued and examined and investigated, and yeah, I almost feel like, what can I really add to that other than, just listen to it? Please do. It's my number four for the year, but it does sound incredible. And as I mentioned, Roger Waters, David Gilmour, Mason Wright, everybody involved in that production, in that recording, the songwriting, brilliant. Please do check it out. Okay, right. So I'm going to move on to number three, a group here that, yeah, very much like Steely Dan for me. I always kind of bracket for some reason in my head. I don't really know why I do it, but I do. I kind of put these two in quite a similar space, with Steely Dan being like the US arm of this little kind of union that I've created in my own mind, and this group being the UK sort of equivalent, or maybe just doing that same thing. So very much like, I think, the way REM used to consider the Smiths as being companions of them, in terms of their musicality and, lyrical themes and stuff like that. I don't think either of these groups, to my knowledge, have ever spoken about the other or made a connection, but I have for myself. And that group here from the UK at number three, love this album to bits, I really do, is 10cc with the original soundtrack. And I love the fact as well that they're from my part of the world as well, from Northwest. put Stockport on the map, Strawberry Studios with their just ingenious use of the studio, the engineering at play here, the trickery on one track in particular is just mind-bogglingly good. I mean, they were so ahead of the time. They were doing things here. This group that went on to just pretty much shake up, I think, music production in general. People wanted to know what they were doing, how they were doing it. Learning all these tricks of the trade, making use of technology that was available at the time, and just harnessing its power in a way that I felt anyway hadn't really been done to those extents. They literally pushed the envelope and succeeded. And some of those tales that you hear about what they were up to in Strawberry Studios, it sounds like it was almost like some mad scientist laboratory, the way that you read about some of the, the way the tapes were being used and stuff. But yeah, just incredible. So yeah, those people, of course, yeah, I should mention that, shouldn't I, before we carry on? See if I can get this in shot here, maybe take the record out. Might be a bit easier to show. Let's do the gatefold first. Okay, so we've got there, got the band there. So we've got Eric Stewart, Graham Gouldman, Lol, Cream, and Kevin Godley. Yeah, that's it. I've read them. I've gone from that way to that way. There we go. I don't think I screwed that one up, did I? Let's have a look. Forgot them in order. Yeah, I did. And I got the names as well. Yay, there you go. Remember the names. Yeah, brilliant stuff. I should do, given out how much I love this band. So yeah, I've talked a good bit there about the studio trickery. Of course, brilliant sleeve design there by Hypnosis there, brilliant. That is fantastic sleeve art there. You can see all of that. And yeah, this is a great album. For me, it's got a concept to it. The lyrics are outstandingly good. Oh yeah, I've got my lyric sheet. Just a bit of sort of spotting on that there, a bit of age. I think foxing, I think we call that. Just there. It's just because it's so old. I mean, that this is a pretty old pressing, I would say, of this one. So yeah, I've got my lyrics intact as well. But the jewel in this particular crown is "I'm Not in Love." Simple as that. It's one of the greatest songs ever written for me. Was in contention actually for a vinyl tag video that I've just done. I won't tag that one in because it'll just become like a load of tags, in the description after that. You can find that one very easily because it's the video that I've done most recently to this one. So please do check that out. Although "I'm Not in Love" isn't included in there, but it was in contention. "I'm Not in Love" is just an absolutely genius song, start to finish. It's a track that for me best exemplifies what they were doing with the studio that I've mentioned before, using the studio as an instrument, the sound of it, the wooziness of it. It's hazy, it's dreamy, it sounds romantic, but there's like a little bit of cynicism within the lyrics as well. It's deep, it's meaningful, it's beautifully played, it's beautifully performed. Can't speak highly enough of "I'm Not in Love." Please do listen to that one if you're not familiar with 10cc, or if you are, just play it anyway because it's so good. We've got opening up side one as well. I'm going to try not to butcher this pronunciation. "Un nuit à Paris," which is "One Night in Paris." Didn't study French, Spanish and German I studied. Hopefully I did that one okay, but it's a great song. I mean, it really is. So you get "One Night in Paris," and then part two, you get "The Same Night in Paris." There's a bit of a continuation going on there. And then you get part three, which is later, "The Same Night in Paris." That pretty much takes up the majority or a good chunk of side one. Then you get "I'm Not in Love," then you get "Blackmail." And then the other track that I want to mention on here as well, because it is a 10cc classic, is on side two, which is "Life is a Minestrone." Absolutely brilliant. But again, the second setting, For the Last Supper is on here as well, "The Film of My Love." Wonderful album. Can't speak highly enough of it. I've not seen many 1975 kind of ranking vids, but I do always have a look at the ones that I have watched just to see if that ever gets in, or even if it's, making the top five, making the top 10 or whatever. I'm not sure if I see it all that often, but I just absolutely love that record. Love the band, but I do love that album. It's probably my favourite of theirs, to be honest. I mean, I just think it's a masterpiece. That I'm just in awe of it whenever I listen to it, just from a sonic point of view, really. and then the musicality of it, as I say, and all that stuff needs to be heard. Everybody, please do check it out. That'll be my big plug for all the albums that I love here. I'm gonna really plug 10cc there for people that don't know it. Okay, so let's move on. Got two left to go, and then 1975 will be done and dusted. Okay, so for number two, we've got a classic record here by arguably the greatest songwriter in history. He certainly is for many people. Another artist that has transcended pretty much everything. Everything that could have been written about him has been written about him. I mean, where do I start? There's nothing really I can add other than to show the record. So this is regarded as being one of his most personal albums, although, maybe autobiographical, although the artist himself has denied in places, or has done on occasions, that it isn't. But I think that's very much about this person attempting to preserve a mystique that has been very carefully cultivated over their entire history, their entire career, the man of mystery, the enigma, etc. But I think it is a very personal record, reading into the lyrics. And my number two for 1975 is Blood on the Tracks by Bob Dylan. Fantastic album. So his then wife at the time, Sarah Dillon, and for me, this record, and for many people who've examined it and have done incredible jobs of doing it, all those Dylan acolytes out there, you've got experts in Dylan, true experts, scholars of the man, people who've written tomes on him, book after book after book, essay after essay, have done incredible work on Bob Dylan, the meaning of these lyrics, the significance of his words. He is somebody who is pored over by academics and fans alike. And yeah, I mean, for me, keeping it very simple, it's a very, very emotional record, I think. It's got beautiful songs on it. It needs to be heard. I do think it's an essential for anybody's record collection. Again, I appreciate if you're not a Dylan fan, you don't like his voice, whatever, fair enough. You're not going to go for it. You might not want it. But for me, just from a songwriting perspective, for a person, who is a huge Bob Dylan fan as I am, I just think Blood on the Tracks is just absolutely awesome. I really do. And the only reason it didn't get to number one is just because the love that I have for my number one is just, yeah, so high when I get to it. Yeah, but I'm not there yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's focus on Bob for a bit. Yeah, check it out. Favourite tracks, Tangled Up in Blue. Wow, yeah. Amazing opener. We've had some really great openers, haven't we? It tends to be the way when I do these reviews. I must really go for opening tracks, mate. I must put a lot of importance, I would say, on opening tracks. I do tend to pick them from the faves that I end up going for. Maybe that's why they always end up making my top rankings, because of the openers being so good. Maybe something in that, I don't know. Buckets of Rain, wow. Shelter from the Storm. I mean, honestly, I can't even pick three off that. I just can't. I really can't. If you see her say hello, yeah, when you go, Idiot Wind, You're a Big Girl Now, Simple Twist of Fate. Oh, I'm beginning to think now. No, I'm not. I'm beginning to think there. Should it? If I don't do tiebreakers, I don't do ties. I mean, I suppose it could be joint number one. I mean, I do love it. I love it, love it, love it. But I've tried to rank them, in a way where I'm not having ties and double ties and triple ties and all that, because then it just gets a bit unwieldy, and then it just kind of defeats the purpose of trying to rank them. It's number two for me, but please get it. It's a 5-star record. Every track on it is incredible. Lovely, lovely musical decision making throughout. I think Bob's voice on it sounds great. There's a tenderness to it. The lyrics, of course, are his lyrics. His lyrics are always exceptional. Please do get it. But what I will do, because I kind of copped out there by not picking a few favourites, I will choose just three for people to listen to as a starting point. So I would choose Tangled Up in Blue, Simple Twist of Fate, and Shelter from the Storm. Yeah, I've got to put Shelter from the Storm in there because it is just absolutely beautiful. Love that song. Epic. Just, yeah, great album. Blood on the Tracks by Bob Dylan. One of his very, very best in a career full of very best, I mean, the output of that guy, wow. Okay. And the consistency as well. Right, okay, so we're at number one. So why is it my number one? Well, because I think it's a magnificent album, first and foremost. I listened to it an unbelievable number of times for a very long time. I'd say probably through um, certainly university years again, although probably didn't listen to it as much as I did Big Star, but it was rivaling it. And yeah, just right through really, from probably being about 18 or something. I mean, I'm 42 now, so I mean it's just one of those records that's continued to be on regular rotation. I just love this woman so much. I just love. I've seen her once as well at the Hop Farm Festival in Kent, which was just incredible. I mean, my word, the lineup there that year when Patty played. Oh, there you go, Patty. I've just said it. Right, there we go. Horses by Patti Smith is my number one for 1975. But come on, you all knew anyway. You did because she's the title card choice. So you're probably thinking, "Where's Patty? Where's Patty? Where is she? Where's she?" There you go. She's number one. She was always going to be number one for 1975 for me. Exceptional record. I mean, look at that front cover for a start. It's by there's a friend, Robert Mapplethorpe, wasn't it? I think I pronounced that correctly. Um, yeah, Robert Mapplethorpe. Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, in a year here with great front covers, that's the best. I just think it's an amazing front cover that. But yeah, what was it going on about? Yeah, I saw her at the Hop Farm Festival that year when she was just absolutely spellbinding. It's the one and only time that I've ever watched her live, and she was just absolutely incredible, like bewitching, like so good. The crowd were just in the palm of her hand. Just absolutely brilliant choice of songs as well that she played, and amazing. I would love to have seen her more often, but that's probably maybe going to be the only chance I ever get to watch her. But I'm delighted that I did. But yeah, I love this record, as I was saying. Played it loads and loads when I was younger. Continues to make its appearances on my turntable pretty frequently. It's definitely my favourite album by Patti Smith as well. I've got a few others in my collection, but this for me is the one. Got great band on here. Love those photographs there as well. Love portrait shots, me. I really do when they're done like that. Just brilliant photography. So, of course, got Richard Soul on here, piano, Lenny Kay. Of course, you know, he shows up in many guises, doesn't he, Lenny? Brilliant rock journalist as well, you know, put the Nuggets compilation together. Got Ivan Crowell there as well, guitar and bass. And then J.D. Doherty on the drums there as well. Okay, and then, of course, there she is, the poet. Patti Smith, love it, brilliant. Produced by John Cale as well, should mention that. Of course, from the Velvet Underground, went on to have a fine solo career of his own. He's been involved in some magnificent records, John Cale. Wow, some of the contributions and production jobs he's done are awesome. Right, right, picking favourites. Right, okay. Love them all. Gloria is essential. Covered by the song by them, Van Morrison's group. Gloria, absolutely amazing. The energy in it, the vibe, the feel sets you up for the record, gets you going. It's exciting. It's a rush. It's just fantastic. Then we get Redondo Beach, which is like a little bit more, slowed down, like sort of like almost like a bit of a reggae feel to it. Pretty sure that Morrissey did a cover of Redondo Beach, actually. And just to throw another Smiths reference in there as well, if I may, for those who it doesn't upset. Hopefully, if you're not bothered by the Smiths, so you're not going to feel upset about it. I mean, I'm a massive Smiths fan, and I know that there's people here that follow me on the channel that are as well. The track Kimberly, which is one of my favourites on here, love Kimberly. That was a direct inspiration musically on the Smiths song "The Hand That Rocks the Cradle," which comes up on their debut album. The guitar line in that beautiful arpeggiated guitar part by Johnny Marr was definitely influenced by Kimberly. I think he has gone on record and said that. Land on here is amazing as well. What a song that is. That would be the one that I would tell you all to go away and listen to. It's an epic story. Again, the rush of it, the power, the surge, the use of dynamics within the track, to build up and then slow things down. Please listen to Land. Amazing. We got Birdland on here as well, which is a brilliant song, and I believe that's where the band Birdland took their name from. They were like I think they were late 80s, early 90s band, all had blonde Mop Tops haircuts. I've got their album I think their first album in my collection. They were a big. I always get them in. I always get them into my videos. They were a big influence on my favourite band of all time, Manic Street Preachers, Birdland. So there you go. Tend to get a Manic's reference in wherever I possibly can, and that one hopefully wasn't too tenuous. So there you go. But yeah, Break It Up, Free Money. Uh, yeah, wow. Please, yeah, please just listen to that album. That is my number one all day long, number one, and that is fighting off some very stiff competition there in a lot of those albums. So yeah, Patti Smith, Horses, 1975. There she is, done and dusted. That is my year done. That's my ranking done. So if you're still here with me and you've been able to listen to my wafflings and ramblings and detours and what do you call them, missteps and going all over the place, then thank you very much indeed. That is my style. That's how I do it. And yeah, I just love talking about music. It's my passion. I love it to bits. I hope that comes over in my presentation and delivery. I'm still a fairly new channel as well. I started at the time of recording here about 7 months ago, something like that. But yeah, I'm continuing to grow the channel, and any support from you watching me, liking the videos, connecting with me through communication is hugely valued. So all that's left to say now is, if you are new to my channel and you've enjoyed what I've done today, please do consider liking the video. That really would mean a lot. I really appreciate it. And if you want to check out any further content that I've got coming down the line at a further date, then please do consider subscribing to my channel as well. That would be lovely if you did. And then just make sure, please, that you click the notification bell, and that will give you an update or an alert as to when I've got my new videos landing. So 1976 will be the next video. I will get to that video at some point and continuing my 70s series. But yeah, thank you again, everybody. I'm really looking forward already to how the comment section will play out for this particular vid. I've really enjoyed that on my videos I've done today. I've noticed the comments are becoming a bit busier, which is lovely, and it's lovely as well to see fellow subscribers, people involved in the channel communicating with other people as well. I've really enjoyed people sharing their own thoughts and feelings on what I've done, and then they're kind of going off having their own conversations with other people too, which is really lovely. That's what I want the Vinyl Sanctuary to be. I want it to feel like a community of like-minded people who can share their passion for music, and we can just have some really interesting conversations about albums that maybe should be there, shouldn't be there, that type of thing. I really do enjoy that aspect of having a channel. So I'm all done now. Thank you, everybody, and until the next time, bye for now.